You're missing out. You own an Xbox? Fuck boy, I own a PlayStation 4. You're missing out. You don't understand. You missing out, man. That PlayStation 4, boy, you missing out. Cause you got a fucking Xbox. You don't understand. You missing out. What exactly is the Xbox guy missing out on? Can anyone tell me? Cause I hear that all the time. Not that I don't have a PS4. I mean, I bought one like 2 years ago. But I see that all the time. PlayStation fans losing they fucking mind when they hear someone has an Xbox. Now, I'm gonna say Xbox has a lot of noticeable upgrades from 2016 to 2017. A lot of noticeable upgrades. I've had the 2013 VCR box. I've got the right now Xbox One Slim, and I know the Xbox One X. So let's look at these. All right. With the VCR model, you had the basic Blu-ray. I have a basic Blu-ray sitting right over here. It's a Philips, and it'll play any movie I have, except for Suicide Squad, because I bought the 4K version of that movie just to see what it looks like. And that's the only 4K Blu-ray I own. I don't care to have 4K Blu-rays. I might start getting cartoon movies in 4K because cartoon Blu-rays look so damn good. Now, that aside, let me go ahead and tell you something here that you probably won't like. PlayStation people need to shut the fuck up. The Xbox guy isn't missing anything. You are desperately hanging on to the last thread of hope when it comes to PlayStation right now. You realize at this point in PlayStation's generation that Don Matrix is not coming back to sell more PlayStations. I know that seems like a bitter pill to swallow, but follow me here. In 2013, Don Matrix sold more PlayStations than anybody working at PlayStation, so deal with it. Okay? It's time for you to fucking deal with it. Get over it. It happened. Fucking get over it. Alright? It wasn't anybody who works for Sony that sold the PS4. Don Matrix handed PlayStation the keys to the kingdom. Everybody who was anybody in 2013 was waiting to see what Xbox was gonna do. That's what they were waiting on, because everybody was like, man, I can't wait to see what the next Xbox is. Because Xbox was ruling the generation. They were the go-to system, okay? Nintendo aside, Xbox was the kingdom, okay? Even though everybody already had a Wii, they bought the Wii. The Wii was the number one selling system of the generation. The Wii U wasn't, but the Wii was, okay? PlayStation 3 never caught it. 360 never caught it. Wii was the king of the hill. But the king of the generation for like gamers to play games on was 360. PS3 took the entire generation just to catch up. But it still only ever fell into second place. Took all generation to fall into second place. So follow me here. So Xbox was the people, everybody was like, let's see what they're doing. And Don Matrix fucked them hard, okay? And Don Matrix, I hope I'm saying his name right, because even though he's a fuckboy, I don't like to fuck up people's names. So what he did was he sold more PlayStations than anybody. Now, what I want you to understand with this is this. You can think that's not true, but here's the thing. With everything that happened with Xbox, with everything wrong with Xbox at 2013, what did they have? They had a basic Blu-ray player, a like 900p machine, I believe it was 900p, and I mean it was pretty much, you know, subpar. It wasn't like terrible, but I mean it was not really that great. So then the PS4 comes out, and the PS4 is actually more powerful, right? I'm not gonna take anything away from that, but it's more powerful. So then, what do? You come out with the Xbox One Slim years later. And the reason I'm talking about the Xbox One Slim after a vague description of the the Xbox One is because the noticeable difference. Okay, it goes from being like here to a step up. Okay, and a noticeable one. And what I mean by that is you had an ugly brick that everybody hated. You had a VCR set top box that everybody fucking hated. That main focus was on television. You had the Kinect bundled in. Nobody liked that. Then the Slim came out. And before the Slim, they took the Kinect out. But still, when the Slim came out, the noticeable differences were there. And you could physically see them. Okay? First of all, there's no Kinect. Second of all, there's no brick. Third of all, the system can physically go from this to standing up, making it easier to store. Third of all, it's smaller, it's slimmer, it's more appealing to the eye. These are all physical changes that you can notice right off the jump, okay? And it's something, pardon me, that everybody was just like, oh, okay? And with that, you're like, holy shit. Now, when you start tearing into the system, even inside, the Xbox did upgrades. Not just from the outside, but also on the inside with the Slim. Now you jump from 2013 to 2016, even that model had inside upgrades. You had a basic Blu-ray player in 2016 or 2013. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Now jump to 2016. 2016 Slim got a 4K Blu-ray player. You got an upgrade for people who wanted to make that jump from basic Blu-ray to 4K. Now myself, I have no reason for the 4K Blu-ray player, but I like the option. Okay, so if I want to make that jump, I can. But that's something they did. They added a 4K Blu-ray player, also Xbox One Slim, added in the HDR gameplay. And there is the option on a few games, not a lot, a few, to do 4K. Okay, it does have the option on a hair, like I think it's Gears of War 4, and I think Horizon 3 that do the 4K games, and they also do the HDR. And it, again, is a small list. I'm not sure how many, but they're there. Okay, and that again is on the Slim. So they were starting to really kind of dabble with the 4K games and the HDR rendering on the Slim. And again, this is the internal I'm talking about. So Xbox really started to dabble with the mid-gen refresh on the Slims. And it wasn't just a physical outward appearance, it was an internal one as well. And this is on Xbox side, okay? Now, you come back a year later in 2017, and all those that we saw in 2016 with the Slim have been adapted to the Xbox One X. In fact, the Xbox One X, I do believe, is a little bit smaller than the Slim. Not only that, but again, you can also stand it up. The base model of this one, in fact, is 1 terabyte, which I've said before is fucking stupid. It's a joke, but it is what it is. Now, let's look at it from this angle. It's terabyte base model. Um, it's slimmer. You stand it up. There is no fat model. It's slim. You stand it up, which is attractive to everybody. All the shit that was there physically from the slim is there physically for the X model. Now, what they do internally, the 4K Blu-ray player is still there. The brick is still on the inside. But also internally, they added the 4K gaming to upscale all the 4K gaming to all the games. Not just Forza Horizon 3 or Gears of War 4 with the HDR and all that. But it's on Forza 7. It's on, what is it, Shadow of War? It's on pretty much everything. It's with any game coming out, it's on everything. And games are looking far more superior on Xbox. It's got what is it? I think it's got like 8 teraflops, I believe, on the inside, which is something technical which a lot of people don't really understand and like to play like they do, but they really don't. And stuff like that you won't really notice unless you really study down on that type of thing. But the changes are noticeable from the 2013 model to 2017. Okay, you can actually take note to some of those, like the 4K Blu-ray player, the brick no longer being there, the size difference in the consoles. All those physical changes on the outside you can take note to. Even the ones on the inside, like the 4K Blu-ray player, you can take note to that. The 4K streaming with Hulu and Netflix as well. And then there's also there was something, I believe, the loading speeds as well. Again, that's just something with me, probably. I mean, the one I had for the VCR didn't load that fast, but my slim one is like that. Now, with PlayStation, the PS4 2013 model, I believe people said sounded like a jet engine at one point. Never had that problem. It's always been attractive. I'm not going to say it wasn't. It's always been attractive. There's a lot of cosmetics, so you don't have to stay with the standard black one or the basic bitch one. Is I call it the piano black one. I don't like those anymore because there's so many cosmetic ones out there. You can always get one designed for you. So, the thing with me, I don't have anything against PlayStation, but their mid-gen refresh is not really a mid-gen refresh. The PlayStation 4 Pro, everybody has said, is not really that powerful. Even developers are not developing games for it. The PlayStation 4 Pro enhanced version of games, the list of games are not that impressive. There's not that many. Now, as well as that, if you look at what the PlayStation 4 Pro is intentionally there for versus what people want to use it for, we're looking at basically Sega Genesis version 2. Okay? Now, what I mean by that, if you remember the Sega Genesis, you had the Sega Genesis, you had a Sega CD attachment, and then you had the Genesis 32X, which you would plug on top, and you had a behemoth of a machine. That's what we're looking at now with the PS4 Pro. Because the PS4 Pro is like the PS4 on steroids, because it got bigger. Didn't get smaller, it got bigger. Because it came out with the Slim, while the Slim basically looks like a graduation cap. I'm sorry, it does. It is smaller, but like they cut half of it in half and then left the other half normal size. Normal sized. But here's the thing. The PS4 Pro looks like they took the Slim and then put another Slim on the other side of it. That's what it looks like to me. You could be mad at me for that. I don't care. That's just what it looks like to me. Now, it's not smaller like with the Xbox One X. They didn't make it smaller. They made it bigger. And it's not really that much more powerful than your base model PS4. And in reality, it's there for the VR. Which means PlayStation 4 Pro was invented to help a add-on for the PS4 Pro, which Sony themselves have gone out and said you don't really need the PS4 Pro to use VR. Not only that, but let's think of it this way too. They've come out with the 2013 model PS4, then you have the 2016 PS4 Slim and the PS4 Pro. Now, when you look at all these systems, the Slim and the 2013 are the exact same models. They've taken the 2013 off the shelves in place of the Slim. However, there's no difference between the two except for, I believe, the way surround sound is received through it. Now, they didn't add in a 4K Blu-ray player. There's no difference. It's the exact same thing. Same thing goes with the Pro. On the inside, there's no 4K Blu-ray player. There's no there was no brick in the first place. They didn't shrink it down. They actually beefed it up. There was no physical changes to this thing. The only physical change was to the controller. That light bar, they kind of cut down and they put a top part on it so you can see when your controller's dying faster. I think something with load times. They added some teraflop titties to it versus the 2013 and the 2016 Slim version. I mean, there was really not that many things that are impressive. So when people are out there, touting about you have no idea what you're missing on PS4, I gotta sit there and wonder, what exactly am I missing? There's not really any physical changes. There's not really any physical needs being sought here. And then they bring up the games. And now I just went through the systems. Let's talk about the games. When people say the games, most of the time, not all the time, but most, what is it people say? Call of Duty, Destiny. So, multiplats? I don't give a fuck about FIFA, Madden, fuck it. I don't care about none of these multiplats that, the main crowds of PlayStation people want to talk to me about. I don't care. These games are on everything. Doom? Who the fuck cares? Okay? I'm not saying who cares about Doom. I'm saying who cares about multiplats. Okay? If that's what you want, okay. Fuck it. If all you want is a multiplat, that's fine. If that's all you get out of it, that's fine. But when you want to bring up games, then let's bring up games. The overall games with exclusives. Because your exclusives will show the capabilities of these systems. You got your Halos, your Crackdown for the Xbox, Sea of Thieves, Rise, Son of Rome. Those games show that system and its power and what it's capable of doing, how handling and all that. That's what that's supposed to do. Okay, unfortunately there's no Fable, there's no Scalebound, that shit doesn't exist. With PS4 you have Knack, Killzone, Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm thinking of these off the top of my head. That's why I'm snapping. The Order of 1886, which I'm still waiting on the sequel for. These games are supposed to show off what the system can do. And unfortunately, when you talk exclusives to people, they like to bring up God of War 3, which is a port from the PS3. I disqualify that game because it is a port. It's not a true PS4 game, and it doesn't really show what the system can do. A remastered game on the PS4 is just a painted game. It's not really pushing the new system. It's not pushing the hardware. And people don't understand that. When I talk about Xbox One, I bring up games that were made on the Xbox One. And this is why I like the Xbox more than PS4. Rise of Tomb Raider is on a 360. But it was designed on the fucking Xbox One. Horizon 2 is on the 360. However, it was designed on the Xbox One. It was dummied down for the 360. That's why I like Xbox over PS4. And why I prefer that. Because these games, again, were made on the Xbox One with the Xbox One sales intended. PS4 took games from the PS3 and brought them to the PS4. Xbox One was like, well, not everybody can afford an Xbox One right now, and there's still a giant crowd for the 360. What if we take these games and we put them on the 360 so when they can finally come over to the Xbox One, those games are here? You know what I mean? Which is why you saw Phantom Pain, fuck Konami, I'm sorry, but Phantom Pain's on the 360. You got Black Ops 3, you got Horizon 2, you got Rise of the Tomb Raider, you got I can't think of a whole bunch. Fuck. You got a fuck ton of those games. So you get what I'm saying to you? But they were all designed with that system in mind. I know Phantom Pain was not one of those, but still, most of those games were designed on the 360 with that system in mind, and then they were dummied down and put on the 360. So that's why. So when people tell me, hey, you have no idea what you're missing, I ask them, do you know what you really mean? And I'm not trying to tout over for Xbox. I'm not trying to say Xbox is a more superior system. I just try to say, hey, do you really know? Do you really know? Do you really understand that it wasn't PlayStation that sold PlayStations? It was actually Xbox who sold the PlayStations. It was the man Don Matrix who sold PlayStation. You realize PlayStation was handed this generation? I know what PlayStation has. And don't care. PlayStation isn't offering a hell of a lot. Even with their mid-gen refresh. And I don't care about the Xbox One X either. Just so you know. But I also am fully aware that the PS4 Pro, its main competition is the Xbox One Slim. And you could say, no, that's not true, all you want. But let's look at it for what it is. The PS4 Pro came out in, 2015, at the end of 2015, and was supposed to compete with the Slim. And they were bam bam right there because the Slim came out and they were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. What was the PS4 Slim supposed to compete with? If the base PS4 was no longer around and the Slim was to replace the base PS4, the base PS4 was supposed to compete with the Xbox 2013 model. Think about it. And I know I said 2015, so 2016. You had 2016 there. All they were going to compete with was the Slim version because they knew that the PS4 Pro had no chance of competing with the Xbox One X. Now, that can be my opinion. You can say that's my opinion all you want to. But at the end of the day, when you look at all these things here, how the Xbox One X stacks up from the 2013 model to today, and how all the changes they've made, they've kept them and improved upon them moving forward, how could you think, oh man, you don't know what you're missing if you're on an Xbox versus PS4? Get what I'm saying? Deuces.